You know what I wish existed when my kids were little? Great Wolf Lodge. An indoor water park inside your hotel where it's always 84 degrees, especially living in Phoenix where the sidewalks burn your toes. That would have been amazing. At Great Wolf Lodge, the whole family gets to splash around in a massive indoor water park with a wave pool, a lazy river, and water slides that you can all ride together. But here's what's really cool about it. They also have Magi Quest, which is a live action adventure game kids play throughout the entire lodge. It's like the magic never stops and your kids are always occupied. Between the Northern Lights Arcade, the great dining options, and the complimentary dance parties nightly, there's genuinely something for everyone all under one roof. No packing up and driving somewhere every hour. No, I'm bored. Just connection, fun, and honestly, a little magic for you too. With 22 lodges across the country, there's probably one close to you. Check it out at greatwolf.com and bring your pack together. Welcome to the No Guilt Mom podcast. I am your host, JoAnn Crone. Hello, my Lolas. How are you today? I am so excited to get into this today because we're talking about how validating kids' feelings sometimes isn't enough. If you have felt this in your relationships with your kids, like you are seeing that they are angry and you're saying, oh my gosh, you are angry, but you don't know where to go after that, this is the episode for you. We are going to talk about all the things about how validating kids' feelings, like when to do it, when it's appropriate, how far you should go. All of those things are coming up in this episode. And hey, can I ask you a favor right now? Can you take 2 minutes and review the No Guilt Mom podcast wherever you're listening, whether it is Apple Podcasts, whether it is Spotify, whether it is Castbox? If you could just take a few moments to review, that would be amazing. It really helps people find the podcast, and like all of those little algorithms boost the podcast up so that more people see it. So with that, let's get on with the show. A lot of moms hear this advice: validate your child's feelings. Like, it is pretty much in the zeitgeist right now. You hear it from Dr. Becky, who I think is probably one of the most popular parenting experts today. You hear it everywhere, but you try, you stay calm, you don't yell, you say things like, hear you. That sounds really hard. And yet you still feel hurt. You still feel dismissed and even disrespected in those same moments. And then it comes the confusion. Am I doing this wrong? Is this normal? Is there something wrong with me? Am I being too sensitive? And my personal favorite, do I just need to let this go? I mean, how many times do you ask yourself that? If you do, I am right there with you. And the issue isn't that you're validating feelings. Like, validating feelings is a really awesome thing, which we're going to get into. The issue is that when validation then turns into silence on your part, when you support their emotions, but you abandon yourself as a person in the process. That's what I call the validation trap, where big feelings from your kids are allowed, but you don't allow yourself big feelings in return. I am so guilty of this, where hurtful behavior from my kids or even from other people in my life goes unaddressed by me. I kind of take it, I absorb it, and I never express my own feelings. So today, we're going to break this down into 3 parts. We're going to talk about what the validation trap actually is and how moms fall into it, the difference between supporting feelings and permitting hurtful behavior. So all my people pleasers out there, if you identify as one, which I do, this is going to be amazing for you, and how to advocate for yourself while staying really calm and connected. So before we get into it, I want to say what validating feelings is, because there's a lot of confusion around it. Validating feelings isn't permitting behavior. Feelings and behavior are 2 distinctly separate things. What you're doing when you're validating feelings is that you are showing the other person that you understand where they're coming from. I mean, think about it with yourself. If you come home after a long day and you're like venting to your husband, oh my gosh, my boss was awful today. I can't believe how much work I have on my plate. And then they keep changing plans on me. If your husband automatically goes into, well, maybe you should try a different time management strategy. Or maybe you need to be better organized. You are going to push back against that sucker so hard because he doesn't hear you, he doesn't see you, and he knows nothing about what you're talking about because you have just vented all of these emotions to him, and it's like he doesn't even care. He just goes right to fixing the problem. That's because validating the feelings is missing in that interaction. Now, think about it from a different way. If you came home, you're venting about work, and your husband's like, oh my gosh, that sounds really hard and frustrating. Oh, I would be really mad about that too. Oh, I can't believe they're changing plans on you. That would require so much more work and energy on your end. I could totally see how you feel that way. And you're here nodding along and you're like, yes, 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 it is hard. It is hard. You feel seen. You feel respected. You feel like your emotions are actually relevant. You're not like this outsider alien where you're the only one feeling these things and everybody else around you has it all calm and together. And apparently you need to fix something for yourself. You're not feeling that way because your feelings were validated. And you're probably going to feel a lot more feelings of warmth toward your husband. You're going to feel like he cares about you. He gets you. You're going to keep bringing these issues you have with work to him. And if he has like a story of something that worked for him in his workplace, you're more likely to take it like under consideration because you know this man gets you. You know he understands what you're going through. So maybe something that worked in his situation will work in your situation because that validating feelings was present. This is the reason we validate feelings and emotions in our kids. It is not to fix their behavior. It is not to have them react more appropriately. It is so they feel heard and understood and loved in the relationship. And when they feel those things, they are less likely to push back against you. They're more likely to take your advice and your experience. Now, what I see with so many moms, including myself, is that sometimes we stop at the validation. It's what I call the validation trap. We validate all those emotions. We become this sounding board to our kids, but then we ignore and we minimize the behavior that actually hurts us. So if a child comes home, say it's your teen after a hard day and they're really snippy with you and you're like, oh, hey, how'd your day go? I don't want to talk about it. Or maybe you share something from your own life that you think is funny. I get into this too. I'm involved in improv comedy and I like pointing out the jokes I think are funny. We were watching SNL last night, the one with Olivia Rodrigo in it. And I love Weekend Update. I love Colin Jost and Michael Shea. My daughter does not. My daughter calls my humor choices so millennial. And I just want to point out, why are millennials getting all of this hate? Why? They get it from the older generations. They now get it from Gen Z. Why does everyone hate millennial? Please stop the millennial hate. And I'm telling you this as a geriatric millennial, like I'm right on that cusp. I'm right on that border. I'm like a xennial. I was born end of 1981, like that 1981, 1984 generation. We're like, I feel the translators. We know what Gen X feels. We know what millennials feel. So stop hating on the millennials. Everybody, millennials are wonderful and they're funny people. They are funny. And I tell you this because this is the insult I get from my daughter all the time, that I have such millennial humor. This hurts me. This diminishes my feelings. This makes me feel like an other or a less than who obviously does not rise to the same humor quality as Gen X does. And I know why she's pushing me away logically. Individuation happens to kids at this age. My daughter's 17. And it is when they're sharply critical of their parents because they are trying to distinguish who they are and who their parents are. It is a completely normal developmental process. However, that doesn't mean that I need to take all of her smack. I don't need to take it. I don't. But yet I feel hurt and I stay quiet because in that moment, I don't always know how I feel. I know something hit me, but I'm not quite sure how to respond yet. And so when we fall into that validation trap, we might also fall into this trap where we feel like delayed processing is somehow wrong. That us taking a lot of time to think about and kind of articulate how we feel about a situation, how it's wrong if we don't say something right away, how somehow it's our fault if we don't say something right away. I mean, I've said to myself numerous times, I'm like, JoAnn, well, you didn't say it in the moment, so you might as well just let it go, right? Have you ever talked to yourself this way? Delayed processing is very, very normal. I mean, in my coaching education, something that lives in my head now is that a lot of people don't process things right away. They are not automatically quick. The average person needs about 30 to 40 seconds to actually figure out what they're thinking and to articulate it. That means that when we ask questions of people and we honor the people who speak right away, most of the people like we've asked the question of, like say you're in a meeting, they need that 30 to 40 seconds of processing to actually feel and think and know how they feel about a situation. And so I just want to let you know that your delayed processing is totally normal and the rest of the world isn't giving you a fair shake by making you answer right away. So just think about this. If you have this delayed processing, you don't have to respond instantly, especially if you grew up without that emotional space to process all of your emotions. I mean, I didn't really have that space, and it's no fault of my parents. It's more about the time I was raised. We didn't know all this stuff about response time. We didn't know all of this need to process emotions. And also, like, we had a lot of emotions in my house. My sister had ADHD and had a lot of outward behavior for it that my parents dealt with all the time. And so as the older child who also have ADHD, but mine is more internal versus hers was like external acting. She would have outbursts. She would have all of the hyperactivity. I would be the one who couldn't focus and was beating myself up on the inside. But because of all that emotional turmoil, I learned to stay quiet and to make my problems smaller because my parents were already dealing with so much with my sister's behavior. I didn't want to add to their load. And so if you grew up that way too, where you have suppressed all of your emotions so that you are not a burden to other people, you do need that space to process. And that's okay. That delayed processing is okay. One of the things that I am letting my daughter do is I really want both of my kids to be able to express themselves freely. And because of that, I do end up taking a lot of the emotional brunt. And it's something that wears on me over time. But also, I know that because I'm taking the emotional brunt, because I need that delayed processing time, it's okay to come back to it later. And that's what I want to tell you too. If your kids do something to you, whether they're snippy with you, whether they give you attitude and you don't react right away, it is okay for you to come back to it later. And we're going to talk a little bit more about that and how to articulate for yourself and how to stand up for yourself right after that. You know what I wish existed when my kids were little? Great Wolf Lodge. An indoor water park inside your hotel where it's always 84 degrees, especially living in Phoenix where the sidewalks burn your toes. That would have been amazing. At Great Wolf Lodge, the whole family gets to splash around in a massive indoor water park with a wave pool, a lazy river, and water slides that you can all ride together. But here's what's really cool about it. They also have Magi Quest, which is a live action adventure game kids play throughout the entire lodge. It's like the magic never stops and your kids are always occupied. Between the Northern Lights Arcade, the great dining options, and the complimentary dance parties nightly, there's genuinely something for everyone all under one roof. No packing up and driving somewhere every hour. No, I'm bored. Just connection, fun, and honestly, a little magic for you too. With 22 lodges across the country, there's probably one close to you. Check it out at greatwolf.com and bring your pack together.
You know that thing where you get an amazing pair of shoes at a really great price and want to tell everyone about it? Yeah, so do we. Here at Designer Shoe Warehouse, we'll give you something to brag about, like the latest styles from brands you love, or the trends everyone's obsessing over, or shoes that make you feel like, well, you. So go ahead, show off a little. Find shoes that get you at prices that get your budget. Head to your DSW store or DSW.com today. DSW. Let us surprise you.
Okay, so summer is basically knocking on the door, and all I want to do is plan a fun family trip without that little voice in the back of my head going, can we actually afford this? Am I spending too much money? You know that voice. We all know that voice. Monarch is the personal finance app that tracks everything: accounts, investments, savings goals, and spending. Get your first year of Monarch for half off, just $50 with promo code NOGUILT. So my husband and I started using it, and honestly, the moment of clarity was when it surfaced every single one of our recurring expenses. Subscriptions I had completely forgotten about, things I had to hunt down the email addresses for just to cancel. It even helped us start thinking seriously about when my husband can retire. And my favorite feature, the AI weekly recap. It flags spending spikes, net worth shifts, and upcoming expenses, so nothing sneaks up on you. It's like having a financial advisor in your pocket, but without the awkward small talk. Use code NOGUILT at monarch.com to get your first year half off at just $50. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code NOGUILT. This is where things get really important, because validating feelings does not mean accepting all the behavior that comes with them. So here's the core distinction. All feelings are allowed. All allowed. Like, you could be angry, you could be mad, you could be annoyed, you could be frustrated, anything. But all behavior is not. The behavior still needs the boundaries. And what that looks like is that even though you're mad, it doesn't mean you get to throw something across the room that like narrowly misses hitting your brother in the head. Like, that behavior is not allowed. Or just because you're mad, it doesn't mean you get to stomp down the hallway and slam your door so that the whole house shakes. That behavior is not allowed. That is what validating feelings is not, because I think that the whole society get that confused when we're talking about gentle parenting and feelings. Feelings are fine, but how you express those feelings, that is what we work on teaching our kids how to do appropriately when we parent them. So for example, if my daughter uses a harsh tone with me or tells me, oh, that's so millennial. Oh, you're millennial. You would think that way. Yeah, I could tell she's a little bit annoyed with my sense of humor. That annoyance is okay, but it doesn't change how I feel being on the opposite end of that tone. I feel hurt. I feel shut down. Now, a little bit before, I did talk about how I need that delayed processing time, and you might need that delayed processing time too. If you can think of it in the moment and you're saying like, oh, that was harsh, or that hurt, great. You can use those sentences. But if you're like me, and I would say like 97% of the Lolas in our inner circle, you don't remember to say that in the moment. You might be so stunned and so in your own feelings that it doesn't occur to you until like 2 minutes later when everybody's moved on that, oh, that really hurt me. That's okay. That is okay, because you can come back to it at a later time. Saying something like that hurt, it is not a punishment to your kids. Because if you are a people pleaser like I am, you know, and you're keenly aware of the effect that your words have on other people. And you might even, I mean, I see this from myself, guys. You might even protect other people's emotions and you neglect yourself in the process by not saying something. I mean, if you just think about it for a little bit, if your teen says something to you or if your kid says something to you that hurts your feelings, you don't say something right away. And then you come up to them maybe like 30 minutes later, an hour later, and you start the conversation with, hey, when you said that I was so millennial, that really stung. I mean, what is their reaction? I could tell you right now, the reaction from my daughter would be like, I didn't mean it that way. But let me step back just a little bit from that because we've had so many conversations about that she knows it bothers me now. And she'd probably say, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it that way. She would apologize. But that is after multiple conversations about this one thing. So if we just go back to like the first conversation, if you've never done this before and you talk to your kids about that behavior, they might first be defensive. So that's okay. Expect that. You're so sensitive, mom. I didn't mean it like that. That's normal. It's normal. Doesn't mean you have to take it. Doesn't mean you have to take it. And when you come in knowing that they might be defensive, you actually have like a benefit, something that you can prepare for. Because something about defensiveness is like, hey, right here where I am telling you my feelings and you saying that I'm imagining it, that hurts me even more. So I'm going to give you some moments to take this all in and let's talk about this later. And you can leave the room with that defensiveness. It's the start of a great conversation and a great education about teaching your child how defensiveness hurts others and how it hurts you. You're giving them information. Now, let's say your child reacts in another way. You go in and you're like, you know what? That really hurt me. And your child goes, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just don't know what to say. Like they take the victim route. This one pulls on me so much because my automatic inclination is I want to come and comfort and I want to say, oh, it's okay, baby. No, it's okay. You just work on it for next time. And here's a key distinction. I have my work and they have their work. My work is staying self-regulated myself and it is clearly expressing how I feel. Their work is staying self-regulated themselves and also clearly expressing how they feel and also reacting appropriately. I would say my work is also reacting appropriately. The common mistake that I see moms make, and I've made this myself, is that you try to go in and take over your kid's work. Like when you see they're sad, you automatically minimize your needs so that they're not sad anymore. And I want to tell you, friend, that is not your responsibility. They have responsibility over their own emotions. Your responsibility is to clearly say your needs and to just be self-regulated yourself. Say you come in and they say, I'm sorry. A great response is like, thank you. I appreciate your apology. And you can leave the room. You don't have to minimize. You don't have to over-explain. You don't have to over-comfort. You just say, thank you so much for your apology. I love you. And you can leave. This feels wrong. It does, especially if you're used to always pushing your needs down to the bottom. But I have to tell you, over time, you are going to see such improvement in your kids in terms of their own emotional regulation and in terms of how they react towards you, because now you are staying firm in your feelings and how they affect you so that going forward, they know it and they're not going to cross that boundary unintentionally. I have to say, they're still kids. They will still push things when they want to. It's not a perfect fix, but over time, you are definitely going to see improvement. So that's the critical shift I want you to make. Their discomfort with you addressing behavior is not a mistake. It is how things need to be. And if you don't fix that discomfort, you are allowing them to have their own work. They're working on their own emotions. They are becoming and growing into better people. So we can hold both. You can validate their feelings and you can name your own. And the next question becomes, how do we actually have these conversations in a way that creates change over time?
One thing experts and parents tend to agree on is that learning to swim isn't just about strokes.
It's about confidence, safety, and consistency. Goldfish Swim School takes a really thoughtful approach to swim lessons, combining research-based teaching with a warm, kid-friendly environment that actually helps kids thrive in the water. And honestly, that tracks with everything we talk about on this show. Kids grow when they feel safe, supported, and not rushed. Goldfish gets that. They use something called the science of swim play, which blends guided play with proven teaching techniques so kids build real water safety skills at their own pace. Their pools are warm, the spaces are designed with kids in mind, and every single lesson has a certified lifeguard on deck. Every one. They offer lessons for kids from 4 months old through 12 years, and their app makes scheduling and makeups actually doable for busy families. If you're ready to take the next step, Goldfish Swim School has a special offer just for listeners. Waived membership and your first lesson free at participating locations. Head to goldfishswimschool.com/free. Find your local school and use promo code FREE to enroll. It's an easy way to get started with lessons that focus on safety and confidence and real progress in the water.
This podcast is supported by MIDI Health. Are you in midlife, feeling dismissed, unheard, or just plain tired of the old healthcare system? You're not alone. In fact, even today, 75% of women seeking care for menopause and perimenopause issues are left entirely untreated. But it's time for a change. It's time for MIDI. MIDI's not just a healthcare provider. It's a women's telehealth clinic founded and supported by world-class leaders in women's health. Their clinicians provide one-on-one, face-to-face consultations where they truly listen to your unique needs. They offer a full range of holistic, data-driven solutions that isn't one-size-fits-all care. This is care uniquely tailored for you. At MIDI, you will find that their mission is clear: to help all women thrive in midlife, giving them access to the healthcare they deserve. Because they believe midlife isn't the middle at all. It is the beginning of your second act. Ready to feel your best and write your second act script? Visit joinmidi.com today to book your personalized, insurance-covered virtual visit. That's joinmidi.com. MIDI, the care women deserve.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why customers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
So this is where most moms either overcorrect or they shut down, but there is a middle ground that is incredibly, incredibly powerful. Remember, we talked about delayed processing a lot in this episode, and I want to give you a really easy framework to use to go back to problems that have been happening. Maybe there's a pattern of problems that have been happening and how to address them with your child. There's this amazing framework. It's called CPR. It's from a book called Crucial Conversations. And C stands for content. Content is like if it only happened one time. This is going back 30 minutes later and being like, hey, you know, when you said that's so millennial, that hurt me. You're talking about one time. The P in CPR stands for pattern. This is a repeated behavior you're addressing. This is extremely powerful when you talk about a pattern, because how many times have you been in a conversation where you say, oh, you know, I was really hurt by what you said. And that person's like, oh, I just said it once. I made a mistake. Why are you making such a big deal out of things? Right? I'm sure you've been in that situation before. But if you're bringing this up because it's a pattern, it's a whole different conversation. And bringing it up as a pattern sounds like, hey, like you've been calling me a millennial for so long now. And each time you bring it up, it really hurts me. Then it's not about that one instance. It's about the pattern that happens over time. And the R in CPR stands for relationship. This is the deeper meaning, the impact behind it. Maybe this conversation has been going on for so long, this behavior has been going on for so long that it is starting to impact the relationship. Trust is being destroyed. Respect is being destroyed. And this would sound like, hey, like I have brought this up time and time again, and I'm feeling like this lack of trust that I have in you that you won't call me a millennial. I mean, it sounds funny when I say it that way, but that's what relationship is. I mean, when a behavior is repeated over and over again and change happens, a relationship does get destroyed. So that's CPR, content, pattern, and relationship. And how this helps you is that going into a conversation, figuring out which one of these do I want to address? Do I want to address it just happening one time, the content? Do I want to address the pattern it happens in? Or do I want to address the relationship? And I have to say, don't go right for the relationship unless you've had previous discussions about this topic, because going for the relationship makes people feel attacked if this problem hasn't been brought up before. Like there's no frame of reference to this problem if you go straight to the relationship. So for teens and kids, stick with pattern and content and move only to the relationship after you've discussed this multiple times and you're seeing no change. So pattern is especially useful with teens because it does remove that defensiveness about, oh, they just had a bad day, or it only happened this one time. This also helps in work situations. In your work, if you have an employee who is constantly late, and you come up to them and they're like, hey, I noticed that you were late today. And they say, oh yeah, like my dog got sick and threw up all over the carpet, and like give all of these things, and which sound like actual valid excuses for being late. You might not know where to go in that conversation because they have said why they're late. And it sounds like it makes sense to you, but you're still resentful and frustrated and annoyed. It's because what's upsetting you isn't that one time. It is the pattern of them being late. So when you come into it and you're like, hey, I've noticed there's this pattern of you coming in late. You've been late this day, and this day, and it's been happening for a few weeks. Then that person doesn't go to, oh, well, my dog was sick, and then what happened this day? Oh, they have this litany of excuses that doesn't sound logical in the conversation anymore because you're addressing a pattern of behavior. And when you talk about patterns of behavior, it causes the person to kind of look inward and be like, whoa, this is a pattern. Why am I not on time? Not everybody. If you have employed people, you know that they have their own stuff to work on and they might be incredibly defensive. And I want to remind you, that is their work. That is their work. That is not yours to fix. Your work is to regulate your own emotions and to clearly express problems and say your needs and react appropriately. But when you go into a conversation knowing this, it gives you a lot more confidence and it helps you become prepared for people's backlash. So this is an important expectation reset, because just know that when you validate feelings in someone and when you're also addressing behavior, this is not a one conversation fix. It's not. If you go into this and you're like, well, I talked to them about it, it just didn't work. Expected. It's expected. Through bringing it up though, you have done your work, friend. You've done your work. You have been self-regulated and you clearly expressed your need. The next step is backing up your need with a boundary. And a boundary is something that you do, not what the other person does. So for instance, in the teen being, calling you millennial, if you address this behavior and you notice that there's no remorse for this behavior, there's no change in this behavior, then the next step is to set that boundary. And a boundary might look like something like, when you hear them say like, oh, that's so millennial, you just immediately leave the room. I've gotten to the point where I will shut my emotions down, because if I have brought something up that it bothers me and I see somebody attack that again, it's already in the forefront of my mind because I brought it up and I brought it up and I brought it up. This is another great thing about bringing things up, is that you don't have that delayed processing. You know it bothers you. You have processed it yourself. And so it just leaps to the front of your brain and you are able to set that boundary and say like, hey, that's not cool. Like, I need to leave the room. And that's the boundary that you set. You just refuse to hear it anymore. you leave. And especially with teens, that's really effective. If you're listening to this and you have younger kids, we have other strategies for younger kids. There are other strategies in your toolbox that you can work from. And in fact, I want to hear from you on this. If you have a situation right now and you're like, I don't think leaving the room would help, JoAnn, or what about this, JoAnn? Please, please, please DM me. DM me. Ask me. I love creating stuff just for you. DM me at No Guilt Mom and I will get on that. I absolutely love it. So what this does is that over time, talking about this gives you something to refer to, addressing the behavior and validating the feelings. It helps the relationship grow. Because at the end of the day, it isn't just about raising emotionally aware kids. It's about raising kids who can feel deeply and still take responsibility for how they treat others. And we are all a work in progress. So as you go forward today, I want you to take a look to see if you're falling into that validation trap. Are you validating feelings and not addressing the behavior that comes on the other side of the feelings? And if you are, you're not alone. You're not alone. You are totally welcome here in the No Guilt Mom community. You have found your people. And if you want a little bit more help with this, we have the Inner Circle program, which I'm going to put a link right below this video where we talk about this and we help you grow from ignoring behavior to actually moving your relationship with your kids forward while you're standing up for yourself. So until next time, remember, the best mom is a happy mom. Take care of you, and I'll talk with you later.
Close your eyes. Focus. Listen to work getting done with Monday.com. Relax as AI does the manual work, while your teams are aligned on a single source of truth. Feel the sensation of an AI work platform, so flexible and intuitive, it feels like it was built just for you. Notice you're limitless. Now open your eyes, go to Monday.com, start for free, and finally, breathe.